Hello my friends, and welcome and good morning here from Berlin from Superbooth 2023. It's actually already day 2, so it's Friday morning right now. It's around 9 a.m. in the morning. And in this video, I want to report a little bit about my Superbooth experience and what I've seen so far, what I've listened to, what I played, and also include some snippets from interviews, from demos of synths that I played, and all of that stuff in this video. So after I arrived at Superbooth, I immediately, and I couldn't really wait, went to the Elektron booth and tried out their new Analog Heat Plus FX. Elektron is at Superbooth with a presence of, I think it's like 2 big tables, and you can clearly see where their focus is. So every machine they have basically is hooked up with the new Analog Heat Plus FX and basically encourages you to try it out. So I had the chance to run the Syntact through it, and also I recorded a little demo with the Digitakt with it that I will show you right now. Just for your reference, I'm using, so you can a little bit better hear what is going on there, I just used one of the Digitakt's preset patterns, which is the Subnautica, I think. It's the first pattern of the Digitakt that you get from the factory preset. So without further ado, let's take a listen. So I hope this gives you a little bit of a better understanding what the machine actually is and what's going on with the machine. And I have to say, after the session, I had mixed feelings about the device. My first question actually was, who is it for? What purpose do you use it with? And the main reason why I had this question was basically, okay, it has some of the modules of the FX modules, which you would clearly use at the end of your chain. So for example, there is this bass module that can basically make your bass sound mono in the lower frequencies, which is something I use in Ableton as well, which I find really useful just to make really sure that your signal is in mono. And then you have, of course, the heat, like the different analog drive options. That is really nice for some saturation in the end of your chain. And then you have, of course, something like a compressor, which is also very handy. But then you have FX like the delay and the reverb that you naturally wouldn't really use on at the end of your chain. but for sound creation. And yeah, thinking about it, I actually had these questions in my head, and then I thought, why not grab someone from Elektron to answer these questions for me? So I had the great chance to talk to Jean-Michel. He's from the Elektron product team in Sweden. And yeah, I just asked him some questions, and let's take a look. I'm here at Superbooth at the Elektron booth with Jean-Michel from Elektron. Thanks for joining me. And I just had the chance to try out the new Analog Heat Plus FX. Pretty impressive machine. The first time I saw it, I was kind of like asking myself, what is kind of like the main intention of the device? Is it something you put at the end of your chain? Because then you would also kind of like see, okay, where to place the delay and the reverb, or is it something that you use for creative sound design, or for both? Maybe you can tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, I think it's a bit for both. Definitely sound design can be achieved on this unit, but also it can be nice for if you're touring and you know, saving different preset with different configuration of effects, for instance, that you can switch between songs, which is also difficult to do with the pedal board, for instance. Yeah, so I think it's suited for both, essentially. Yeah.
Okay, and then I've seen quite a lot of modulation possibilities in the device. Is it something that should really kind of like encourage people to play around with modulation and get as crazy as possible, kind of like in the modular direction?
Yeah, we thought of it as a very modular device. Since you can reorder the effects in the order you want, you can basically modulate everything, like every parameter on it, and you have a more extensive modulation option on this device, like with the envelope followers and CV in and everything. So yeah, this is definitely something that you can use to create your own effects, like in a more modular manner, for sure. Yeah.
Okay. One thing I noticed when I played around with the device is that I kind of like missed something like function and know that you have on other Elektron boxes. So for example, when you go really crazy with the delay and the reverb and you totally mess up your signal and then kind of like just go back to a safe state where basically anything is as you saved it before and more normal. Is that something that exists, or will it come with a future firmware update?
It doesn't exist for now, but yeah, we take requests like that seriously, of course, and we will try to make it better in the future, for sure. But for now, it's not doable.
Okay, speaking of which, that means also like for all other Elektron boxes, we can expect firmware updates in the future.
Yeah, we would like to do firmware updates for all our devices, but being a small team, like, we need to kind of divide our time in between creating new stuff for you guys, but also doing some nice candy, giving candies and cherries on top of what already exists. So yeah, we're always looking forward to make our units better. And for people who already know the company, I mean, you can probably know what I'm talking about. But yeah, so it's just time that is lacking. But we're really eager to update all our machine all of the time, of course. Yeah.
That's great to hear. Thank you so much for taking the time. Really appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
So I hope this gave you a little bit more insights. After the interview was finished, unfortunately, I had some more questions in my head popping up, like, why is there no sequencer in the device included? But yeah, it's really cool to hear. I think that Elektron is also planning future firmware updates and some functions like the function no, which was something I was really missing, because I could think of the device of being at the end of your chain and then you totally mess up your complete mix, go a little bit wild, and then hit something like function no to go back. I know there's not such thing like a function button on the device, but still I think it would be really cool to kind of like get funky and then get back to kind of like a safe state where you can then continue to perform your music with. This is something I could really imagine using it also in my setup in the future. But yeah, so far, yeah, the feelings are still there, like kind of like a little bit mixed. It sounds great, the effects are great, but I was all the time questioning myself, is it something that I can't do in, especially with the digital effects, that I can't do in Ableton? Of course, if you have a DAWless setup, that's a totally different story, and I think then the device gets more and more interesting. But yeah, looking at a hybrid setup that I have right now, probably not my first thing to buy right now, but still a cool device, and yeah, looking forward how Elektron will develop that further. Then I went on to the guys from Erica Synths, and they have this really new cool synthesizer called Steampipe. It's a physical modeling synth with no classical oscillators, and the way they market it is basically that they say it has no oscillators and they are looking for a natural, a kind of like real true sound. And yeah, I had the chance to record a little demo of one of the guys from Erica Synths playing it, which I will show you right now.
Very wide dynamic range on it. We might add a different output circuit to it, so perhaps some analog compression or
Yeah, I think it sounds really, really nice. It's a cool kind of like organ pipe sound. Yeah, I'm really interested to see how, or would like to see how this kind of like could evolve further, like what you could do with it and what the sound design capabilities are. I didn't have the chance to try the synth, but maybe today or at the other days I will come back and then I'll give you an update in this video. And then my kind of last stop for the day was at the Arturia booth, and there I checked out their Arturia MiniFuse interfaces. They have been also in the market for a little time now, but I find them especially interesting for my purpose because I have to say I'm a big fan of the Arturia interfaces. I think they sound great, and they do a great job with offering a good option of connectivity. I especially like about them that they include an USB hub, but also MIDI connection which is for me essential to get my hybrid setup going. I'm using the Arturia AudioFuse Studio, and I also took it to some gigs with me, but there are actually two downsides for that. So the device is great, but it's a 900 euro interface, and this is something where I sometimes really struggle to bring it to a gig because I know it's the only interface I have also for my studio, and if there gets any damage at a gig to it, then I have a problem and can't record any music anymore. So this is why I have been kind of like looking for a little bit of a cheaper version to take to gigs with me, which is also, and this is point number 2, a little bit more handy because the Arturia AudioFuse Studio is quite chunky. I mean, it's still, you can carry it around, it works, but it's not something that is lightweight and fits easily into your backpack. So this is why the MiniFuse has really caught my attention, because especially the MiniFuse, I think it's called 2 or Duo, I don't know the exact name, but it actually has it has, I think, 2 audio inputs and 2 audio outputs, which is totally fine for me. Like 2 line outs is totally fine for playing live, and then a headphone out that I can monitor my own signal, which is great. And then it also has, in addition to that, MIDI in, MIDI out, which is awesome and something that I would really like to have in my setup. But then also it has one USB input, which you can then use to kind of like connect a USB hub to it, which I could then use to connect something like the Ableton Push and my Digitone via Overbridge to it. So yeah, this is something I've been really looking into for live gigs to make my setup a little bit more portable. And yeah, that wraps up day number 1 of Superbooth 2023. Apart from all the exhibitors, I also bumped into a ton of people from the synthesizer community, which was just great to meet in real life, like artists that I know, that I really admire, synth YouTubers that I watch on a regular basis just for synth stuff, and it was just really cool to see how open everyone is and how welcoming the community is. So it's an overall a really great vibe, and I'm looking forward to the next couple of days.